is something that we've not seen in a long, long time, by the way.
Which is?
People talk about Saka. Saka weren't doing this, in my opinion.
What, at this age?
Huh? What?
18, yeah.
At 18, he weren't doing this at 18.
That's not going to go down well.
No, but it wasn't.
We know that's not, clip that, because it's definitely not going down
But it's the truth, though.
The take on.
What was he doing? How old Saka now?
21, 22?
He wasn't. Listen.
I think he was doing it.
No, but people were saying he was. He
weren't in the English squad like that. He was not.
But he was inconsistent.
How old he is now?
But he was inconsistent.
Now,
oh, let me land. He was inconsistent, though.
Yes, he was.
He was inconsistent. Kobbie Mainoo is not inconsistent.
But has it? Listen, I love Kobbie Mainoo, but
brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Now, my issue is narrative. I'm not here to say Saka is the best thing since sliced bread. He's the most amazing young player in the world. But what we're not going to do is lie and change the narrative. And I believe if you're a professional footballer, you can have or ex-professional footballer, you can have your opinions. You know, football, like life, would be boring if we all agreed with the same logic or rhetoric. But what we're not going to do is rewrite history. The man's 22. Cast your mind back to when he made his debut around 18, 19. And then you look at the 1920 season where he really announced himself, getting 4 goals and 12 assists in 39 appearances. Then you fast forward to the 2020-21 season where he got 7 goals and 10 assists in 46 games. You know, in the 2 seasons I've just said there, 1 year he's played 39 times, the next he played 46. And you've got to remember, Saka has played central midfield for this football club, has played on the left, and has made right wing his home to the point where none of his teammates can challenge him for that. But let's not act like he wasn't doing this at left back. Let's not act like he didn't go to Old Trafford, the Etihad, Anfield, North London derbies, and was performing at left back and showing the temperament. That's testament to his consistency, to his ability to retain information in terms of instructions provided to him by Mikel Arteta, and just shows how mature and consistent above all he was. You know, he's always had a great temperament. He's always been a very good player in terms of the decision making he makes. The man's an amazing footballer. What we're not going to lie is that he's never had the foundations to display consistency, because the man has, since he burst onto the scene. He's played at left back and performed at left back and made left back his own. It does not make sense, really and truly. He's played as a key part to this rebuild. Let's remember, for a large period of his time through Bukayo Saka's come through the academy, it's obviously sunny days now, but he was a bright spark in which was a rainy cloud hanging over the Emirates, where quite frankly Mikel Arteta has done fantastic to change that and have 11 players / 20 odd players that we all believe in. But when many players were hiding and whatnot, this man stood up to be counted, and he's reaping the benefits of the seeds planted. So let's not rewrite history here, Anton Ferdinand, mate. Either Anton Ferdinand was not watching Arsenal, he's being a whore for engagement, or he just doesn't have a Scooby-Doo what he's talking about. That's up to him and God what he truly believes. But where Saka's concerned, Arsenal fans, we know ourselves. For a while at left back, he was our creative hub. He was our source of inspiration. What are people talking about? He wasn't consistent. The man's had to shoulder bear the shoulders on his shoulders, better yet. I'm so lost for words. He's had to shoulder the burden of carrying this football club and literally deliver for this football club from the moment he stepped into the first team. Yeah, he was doing Europa League for a minute, and then he had to stand up to be counted. What are people talking about? I'm not one to normally get involved in these social media debates and things like that. I'm a big champion of, I don't tell you what to think, just think on my YouTube channel. And equally, I think football is subjective. Nobody's right and nobody's wrong. Everyone's allowed their thoughts. Everyone sees football with different parameters. You know, everybody sees football under different lenses. Obviously a lot of unconscious and conscious bias. Forgive me for my language, but unfortunately, Anton Ferdinand, you're chatting a whole leap of shit, if I'm honest. You know, you can say Bukayo Saka this and that and have your opinions, but to say he wasn't consistent at 18 is absolute waffle. I'm not saying he was doing necessarily elements of what he's doing now at 18 years of age, but the one thing that man has had is consistency, even back to his days of playing as a left back. What are you talking about? You're just proving that you don't watch football. Yes, you're a professional footballer, or better yet, ex-professional footballer, you know, and you definitely in that regards got more of a leg to stand on than me. I've played Sunday League at best, but you're lying to yourselves. The data lie. The data doesn't lie. The Arsenal fans don't lie. You're just confirming that you never watched Bukayo Saka kick a ball up until recently. Now, I know doing it for engagement, doing it for clicks, not that he needs the money or whatever, but it boosts his engagement on the show and it gets clicks and, you know, it does the rounds and the next episode does bigger and better. But he knows deep down in his heart he's waffling. He knows deep down in his heart he disagrees. I ain't gonna throw no one under the bus, but in my little 6, 7, 8 years of doing YouTube, I've sat in studios where people have said, I do not believe this, but once the camera starts, I'm gonna say this. A lot of these guys, whether they're ex-pundits now trying to move into this space, whether they're YouTubers, whether they're whatever they are, you know, they do this. It's like wrestling, it's like WWE characters. He knows in his heart he's talking nonsense. Fortunately, you know, his opinion doesn't matter. As long as Bukayo Saka keeps doing what he's doing, then you're going to play for England. You're going to continue to thrive for Arsenal. Every day, I'm sure you lot are on social media or type in Bukayo Saka. He's got some sort of commercial deal. I'm seeing adverts with Modric of all people. You know, that's crazy. Obviously, he's got the Nando's stuff. The statistics are there. Even in the last 3 years or so, he's been a madness. Saka is a veteran also at 20 years of age, arguably. It's like he's been around for about 10 years. But sorry, 22. People forget Bukayo Saka is 22 years of age, and it's only from, I would say, last season / this year onwards is now where Bukayo Saka is announcing himself. You know, all you need to do is type in Arsene Wenger's comments in relation to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and how he talks about player development, and at 23 you know your role and you know your position. We've seen Saka exclusively play at left back. There was a point he was playing left wing. I actually cannot remember it. Well, he's played right back as well. He's even technically played in central midfield for Mikel Arteta during the COVID days, but now he's reverted back to playing on the right wing like he was in the youth days. And he's establishing himself. He's putting up the numbers. He's decisive, and his general play is improving. Yes, you know, every day there's something. You know, people sit here, and I'm not saying Saka is the best thing since sliced bread. For instance, I know I haven't got a case study to go off, but that young, is it Yalmao, the Barcelona kid? I think he's going to be better than Saka. I think he's got potential to be the best player in the world. But every young player or winger, people say you don't rate Bukayo Saka, and then every young player, emerging player, some player does something talented, and Saka is already immediately compared to them. Now, again, I'm not saying Saka's this, that, and the other and the third, but if you don't rate him, why is he always compared to these guys? The goalpost always shifts. Saka can't score goals. Saka's not consistent. Saka can't do it next year. Saka don't do it in big games. Saka don't do this. Saka don't do that. Now, the next one is, he's not aesthetically pleasing, and I get that. Is Saka the most exciting young player or footballer I've ever seen at Arsenal Football Club? 100% he's not. But then, you know, in this day and age, it's about being decisive. You know, there's a bag of wingers that have all the party tricks, but there's no point doing a million step overs if you're not going to pick out that pass or score that goal and make the difference, which attackers are essentially paid to score goals and make the difference. So as long as Bukayo Saka keeps doing what he's doing, as long as the club, Mikel Arteta and Bukayo Saka are happy and his teammates, who gives a crap? Now, as I said, I don't normally react to these sort of things or get involved because I don't know the word, but I doubt how genuine the likes of Anton Ferdinand and things like that, when they come out and make these comments. You know, I've got a lot of respect for Rio Ferdinand as an ex-footballer and what he's doing in the space and whatnot. But Anton Ferdinand, respect you as well. You know, no hard feelings. But do you know how special you have to be to make your older brother look like Einstein? Because he comes out with some criminal shouts and you've come out with this, Saka's not winning. Sounds like being in a barbershop, bro. Like, he clearly just watching Match of the Day highlights or whatever. It's okay to have question marks about Saka. Equally, it's about, you know, you can praise him. But it's nonsense to say Saka weren't consistent at 18. And I'm not saying he was the finished article, didn't have good or bad games, but he showed an abnormal amount of consistency that players that I've seen come through this academy and other clubs that I've talked up did not possess. You can have all the party tricks, you really and truly. It does not make sense, really. And I just felt that this needed to be said. As I said, I don't react to any of these things, but it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff, man. And I had to record again because I forgot some points. You know, why I know football is tribal. You know, I'm an Arsenal fan. I love Arsenal. I bleed red, cliche, but it had to be said. I know football is tribal, and sometimes, including myself and everybody listening, we see things through supporters' lenses, and we get it, like we get it. But why do we have to, you know, put down one player to big up another? Kobbie Mainoo, obviously, you would have seen the clip throughout this video. Kobbie Mainoo, for what it's worth, fucking amazing footballer. You know, again, the sample size is small, but sometimes you just know, wonderfully gifted technically, evades pressure on the ball in the middle of the park, always feels he's one of them centre mids where it feels, because he's so smart and he thinks ahead, it feels like he's got a billion years on the ball. He's so gracious. I would say the best thing I like about him is what I've loved about Bukayo Saka. And I'm not putting them against each other or saying they're the same. It's the temperament, you know, like what I've seen with Saka and with Kobbie Mainoo, I would say, and you lot see me tweet about Mainoo all the time. They're human beings, and isolated to Mainoo, you know, he's a human being. I'm sure there was an element of nerves making your England debut, playing for Manchester United and all of these things. But if that was the case, he didn't show it. These men look like they're still, and Mainoo at the moment, Saka when he's come through, the temperament, they look like they're having a kick about with their boys. And I'm not meaning that in a nonchalant way. It's just the temperament. They look like they belong here. I think some footballers are made, some are born, and I think Mainoo, that's definitely the case, you know. But again, to even, and I'm not getting at Mainoo, I want him to go all the way. I love the fact that Gareth Southgate kind of got pressured to select him, Mainoo, rightly so, because he's a very sexy option for England to have in the middle of the park. But the man is still developing. The sample size is small. You know, the first thing you've got to do is add consistency. That's something that he's showing, but the sample size is small. So how can you, and I'm not even saying, because Saka showed his consistency, I'm not putting them against each other. I'm purely going against Anton Ferdinand's logic, because I think Mainoo will keep doing what he's doing. But as you know, a footballer's career is not like that. There's bumps and bruises, there's setbacks. You know, even the best players in the world have gone through patches of not scoring goals, and the talking point. Saka's had it, Son has it, Salah's had it. You know, unless your name's Ronaldo or Messi, and even they've had criticism. The sample size is tiny. You're acting like the man's been there for 10 years. Mainoo is an effing great footballer. Again, this ain't an attack at Mainoo. This ain't an attack at Saka. This ain't even an attack at Anton Ferdinand's comments. It's just the logic. Like, speak from a place of sense. As I said, clearly the man is speaking from a place of, I need to get engagements. But for someone that's played in the Championship, played for West Ham, played in the Prem, you would think the opinion would be a bit more sensible. And it's just wrong. Like, Saka was consistent. Yeah, he might not have scored a million goals and stuff, but in your heart, you know, if you was watching football, you know, when he's starting against City and United and he's playing left back, he was consistent. So it's a lie to suggest anything, really. But fair enough. You lot do what you need to do, really.